Why is just massively slow? I don't know where I am in the race.
The chaos that Ferrari tried to keep hidden has now been laid bare for the entire world to hear, and it's far worse than anyone could have imagined. The Canadian Grand Prix was supposed to be Ferrari's redemption arc, a chance to silence critics and show that the SF25 could perform under pressure. It was supposed to be a weekend where the team would demonstrate that harmony behind their two superstars, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, was finally established. But what happened in Montreal was nothing less than calamitous. A perfect storm of disarray, mismanagement, and desperation and sabotaged their race, leaving both Hamilton and Leclerc at breaking points. And now, the leaked radio transmissions are here to lay bare the whole scale of the disaster. The transmissions show not only technical mistakes, but a team in complete disarray. Skeptical of pit calls during a race, Hamilton baffled by a car breaking down underneath him, confused strategies, missed chances, and stony silence when answers were most required. These weren't errors. They were errors that broke trust, caused rage, and risked disintegrating a season already on shaky ground. Ferrari believed they could cover this up, but they did not. What these radio communications confirm isn't a few errors. It's an all-around failure of communication between the drivers and the pit wall. Now, the rage is burning out of control. Leclerc is being ignored, Hamilton is being betrayed, and Ferrari is out of options. What made the meltdown so spectacular, however, was the public nature of the collapse. With the leaked radio messages, the entire moment of disbelief, every second of miscommunication, and every note of escalating anger in the voices of Hamilton and Leclerc could be heard by fans. It wasn't tension. It was the slow, painful crumbling of trust in real time. For Lewis Hamilton, the anger wasn't so much about being held up behind traffic or a bad tire strategy. It was the utter bewilderment at why his car was running so terribly. Perhaps the most telling incident was when he called in and said, "Why is this car so slow?" It was not a rhetorical remark. It was an honest plea for assistance from a seven-time world champion who had been left utterly in the dark. Shortly afterward, he virtually bellowed, "Out of power, out of pace, boys!" It was not a report. It was a resignation. He was utterly stumped. When he was informed by his team that he was 25 seconds down, his quick, gobsmacked response, "Where have I lost 25 seconds?" was a gut-punching reflection of his increasing isolation from the strategy developing around him. But it wasn't the speed or slowness of the car. It was the condition of the car. "I've got no rear. Brake pedal is getting low. I can't stop the car," said Hamilton. These weren't minor complaints. They were signs that the driver wasn't even sure if he would finish the race. Even worse, the team's response was almost surreal. "It's quite balanced," they said. Balanced? While Hamilton was fighting to brake, cutting off perfect lines and yelling for clarification, the gulf between them was immense. It was a depiction of a team that wasn't only slow, it was also entirely oblivious to how terrible things really were in the cockpit. And while Hamilton was running out of patience lap after lap, Charles Leclerc was hurtling into his own strategic hell. The Monaco driver was attempting to look after his tires, interpret the conditions, and maintain pace, but all he received from the pit wall was bewilderment. There was first the notorious Plan B. Leclerc's quick response, "I think Plan C," was brief, direct, and plain annoyed. Then the situation utterly disintegrated. "Why have we boxed?" Leclerc asked in indignation. "Why did we box?" The team's response, "We're on Plan B." It was like two people having entirely separate conversations. Leclerc had just informed the team that his tires were still holding up, that he wanted to stay out. But before he could even deliver his message, the team had already made up its mind on a strategy change. His reply, "Yeah, but I was just telling you tires were fine," was deadpan on the surface, but you could sense the frustration smoldering beneath. That split second of hesitation in his tone said it all. A driver attempting to keep his cool while seething inside. Subsequently, he rendered the most scathing judgment of all. "I don't understand this choice." Those 6 words have gone viral ever since, because they did more than just explain one terrible pit stop. They encapsulated everything Ferrari supporters and now Ferrari drivers have come to dread. That no one on the pit wall actually has a clue. That choices were being made illogically, unclearly, and, worse than anything else, without input from the people who actually were in the car. The most astonishing thing about all of it, neither Hamilton nor Leclerc had been unreasonable. These were not the rants of angry athletes who had merely lost a race. These were controlled, collected breakdowns of gone-wrong strategy. And that's what makes it so tragic, because both drivers were attempting to keep things in hand. But it was the team that let them down. What we heard on the radio was only the tip of the iceberg. What we saw on their faces after the race was the rest, staring blankly into space as if reenacting every mistake. Hamilton quietly folding his belongings, not with rage, but the expression of a man who couldn't understand why he departed from Mercedes in the first place. And amidst all this, a Ferrari garage that wasn't a team struggling for a title. It was a team disintegrating from the inside out. These were not singular occurrences. They were the noisiest warning signals so far that this Ferrari venture, this purported dream combination of Hamilton and Leclerc, is coming apart at the seams even before it has had the opportunity to shine. Not because the two drivers are slow, but because the people who are making the decisions are getting it so wrong. And now that these radio communications are out there, the world is listening. Fans are wondering the same things that the drivers are wondering. How did this occur? Who is in charge of making the calls? And most importantly, can Ferrari repair it before both of their superstars lose hope for good? The ramifications of this debacle won't be limited to within the team. It's out there now. The fans heard it, the competitors heard it, and perhaps most crucially, the Ferrari board heard it. You don't have to be a tactician to understand what is going on when two world-class drivers, one an old veteran legend, the other a longtime favorite scooter rider, are both challenging calls, communication, and competency of the team in real time on the radio. It says something louder than any engine roar. Hamilton departed Mercedes not only to pursue one last title, but to join something historic, a renaissance, a comeback with Ferrari that would seal his legacy. Instead, he's discovered himself in a mismanagement nightmare. And while he's remained calm publicly, the Canadian Grand Prix has laid bare the cracks in the surface. The radio didn't lie. He's angry, he's baffled, and worst of all, he's losing his patience. Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, is no longer the quiet, obedient future of Ferrari. He's more than tired of being disappointed after all these years of believing in the process, of having to defend the team in the eyes of the media, of carrying the burden with grace. He's now voicing out, and not in private, desperate messages, but in the heat of competition. His tone, as Hamilton's, is becoming harder, icier, more pointed. What's in store for Ferrari? That's the frightening aspect, because if things don't change quickly, this won't be a one-off. This can become the tone of the season, a campaign not full of podiums and improvement, but full of leaks, skepticism, and circus. The Hamilton super team dream will shatter, not due to the drivers, but because the people around them failed when it counted. So if you are a Ferrari fan, you should worry, because Montreal was not merely a bad weekend. It was a warning sign. And if Ferrari does not do something about it now, this might get completely out of hand. Not just a lost season, but a broken project. Undefined, so make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because the next race might not just be about performance, undefined. It might be about survival, undefined, and trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next.